Well, we are picking up today at Matthew 15, verse 21. And as we do that, we want to make sure and look back what we just left, what had just gone on before this, at least the last thing that Matthew told us went on before this. And that was the Pharisees coming, and they had come way up into the hustings up there at Gennesaret, and they were challenging him because they were just picking on the most ludicrous things, that his disciples didn't wash their hands before they ate the way that their tradition said that they should, and there's an exchange with them. That's what the last lesson was about what really defiles a person, etc. There was a lot of good stuff in there, but I wanted to make sure and point that out because it is in stark contrast with what we encounter here today. Okay. Now, I want to do something here. Okay. Get the right screen up here. I want to just pull up the map because these things are, we like maps, but maps are very important for perspective on many things. If this stuff all went on in the geographic region where you grew up, if it just went on in the United States, no one would have to tell you that New Jersey is a long way from Pensacola, because New Jersey is a long way from Pensacola. Okay? Perspective. You see down here, that's the Dead Sea. Jerusalem is right here, right where the hand is. All of that stuff in Gennesaret, this is Nazareth. Nazareth is kind of well into nowhere. This is Gennesaret up here on the north shore of the Sea of Galilee, Bethsaida, Capernaum. They're all up here. Okay. Today, he is going up here to Tyre and Sidon. They're on the Mediterranean. They're beautiful places. But this outside of Jewish territory. I mean, up here is in the it doesn't matter Jewish territory, and a whole lot of Samaritans and things around too. But this is way up there. He's traveling way up here. Why? Good question. Why? Jesus was, because of his mission, because of what he was about, proclaiming the gospel, the good news of the kingdom, as he generally referred to it, was, as much as possible, conflict avoidant. Why? It didn't mean that, in many situations, in many professions, being conflict avoidant causes problems. You can't be have a tendency toward avoiding conflict if you're a parent. It doesn't work in relationships. It doesn't work in all kinds of things. But there are situations where if the places I go, there's going to be fights and conflicts with the Pharisees all the time, is that going to allow me to preach the gospel? Is that going to allow me to teach the people? So Jesus was often inclined to stay away from places where that conflict would go on. Now, you're listening to this, chances are you know the gospel well, the gospels, the four gospels, you're getting to know them better. There's conflict all the time. That's with him trying to avoid it. There is still conflict, okay? But we can miss those things. You have to think about everything from a number of different angles. And again, a big part of that is trying to get into and comprehend correctly the mindset of the people of Jesus' day. They looked at the world differently. They thought about things differently. Their geography and history and culture was different. We have to put some effort into understanding. And Jesus went away from there and withdrew to the district of Tyre and Sidon. I showed you that on the map. So he is going way up there. And behold, a Canaanite woman from that region came out and was crying, "Have mercy on me, O Lord, Son of David. My daughter is severely oppressed by a demon." But he did not answer her a word. Stop there. Now, for those of you who are regular viewers, you know that we're presently also going through the book of Joshua. This term that is used of this woman up here in Tyre and Sidon, way up here, as Canaanite, is a loaded term. It's a loaded term. It's like if you live in the South and you've been there all your life and you're in the deep South, and some of this stuff is fading away now. But when I first moved to the South in 1991, down into Florida, and I didn't ever even thought of the South, Florida as the South. It was like the beach, no. The Florida was the South. And down there, one thing I learned very quickly as a young pastor is in Florida, with a bunch of people who've been there, born and raised, and their parents settled there, you never say this. Up north, we da 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 da. You don't. You don't. They'll look at you with that look that says, "You lousy Yankee, don't you tell us how to do things." So terms like Yankee, or as people call people in the South, crackers, right? Those terms we understand. They understood the term Canaanite. What did that term Canaanite mean? When we're studying Joshua, the last thing we looked at is all the territories that hadn't been settled yet, the conquest hadn't taken place there. Joshua was dying and they were supposed to take it over, and they didn't. That's what you get to when you get into Judges. They didn't do it. They didn't drive them out. And God had said it'll be a whip on your back and thorns in your eyes, all kinds of problems if you don't do that. This woman is one of those people. She is a descendant many, many, many generations later of those people who didn't get driven out. They weren't looked upon kindly. Canaanite to them was almost a derogatory term in the way they would have heard it and thought about it. She is one of them. Okay. She's not a Jew, but she comes out, and this the wording here, much more so in the Greek, the wording here gives the idea that she came out before they even arrived there. She heard he was coming, and she came out to see him. What else does that tell us? Got to think. Way up here, they knew about him. Up here in this area where it wasn't even, there were some Jews there probably, but not many. But the word about him had spread all the way up there, and there wasn't an internet to cause that spread. It tells you something about how much of a sensation he was. But there's more than just the popularity to look at here. Have mercy on me, O Lord, Son of David. My daughter is severely oppressed by a demon. We'll go here first. Severely oppressed by a demon. We're not told anything about it. Other places in Mark, where the guy's son is thrown into the fire by the demon that possessed him, and that's where Jesus said, "Do you believe I can help him?" And the man's response, it's my favorite prayer. He said, "Lord, I believe, help my unbelief." Okay? We're not told anything about this, the real situation for this girl of what it meant that she was oppressed, but severely oppressed by a demon doesn't sound good. It's undefined, but undoubtedly awful. Okay. But what does she say to him? Is there anything there? Is there anything there that catches your eye with what I've just told you about who she is and who she isn't, and where she is and where she isn't? How does she address him? Oh Lord. Now, that's Lord, Kyrios. You could call your master at work Lord, but oh Lord, the next one. Son of David. Son of David. She's not a proselyte. A proselyte is someone who was a Gentile who had converted to Judaism, and they were kind of second-class Jews, but there were proselytes. She's not a proselyte. He would have told us if she's a proselyte. He does, Matthew, and that's, I should have said this. Matthew is the guy who wrote his gospel to whom? The Jews. That's why he uses the term Canaanite. Mark doesn't call her a Canaanite. He calls her a Gentile, a Greek. Canaanite is what he uses. Son of David. Who was the Messiah going to be? The last major promise as far as identity of the Messiah, the son of David. He's the son of David. She knows who he is, and we can infer there's the possibility she has faith. She has faith. She's heard the word. She's been exposed to it. She's heard about what he's doing, or she wouldn't be out there pestering him. He calls him son of David. Interesting. And Jesus thought so too. But he did not answer her a word. He didn't say a thing. He didn't respond. He didn't acknowledge what she said. He didn't even give her a curious glance. He did not answer her a word. That's emphatically saying it. It could have said, but he didn't answer her. He did not answer her a word, not a peep, nothing. Nothing. And his disciples came and begged him, saying, send her away, for she's crying out after us. Part of me says, the professor in me says, they should have known better by now. Seriously, guys, if they're in my class, I'm looking at them and going, seriously, that's the approach you take? She's being annoying. All this stuff that you've seen about Jesus having compassion and mercy and healing without asking questions and preaching to everybody. He's already gone to Samaria. All of that stuff, all of that, and you come to me with this, begging me to send her away for she's crying out after us? Now, it's interesting behavior here all the way around. We'll keep going and talk about it in the whole. Send her away for she's crying out after us. She's annoying us. She's a pain. Get her out of here. He didn't say heal her, or can't you do something for her, or just send her away. And he answered, I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. There's so many interesting things here to me. It doesn't tell us to whom he answered. Is he answering the disciples? Is he answering her? Or is he answering them both? It's a blanket statement. I was not sent. I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. You remember back in Matthew 10, when he sent them out to go do their mission work, Jesus sent out the 12, instructing them, go nowhere among the Gentiles and enter no town of the Samaritans, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Okay, we'll keep going. But she came. The disciples had said, send her away. She's begging after him and following along after them. And you can think of this happening over a 2-minute period. It doesn't say that. This could have been several minutes. We don't know. But she came and knelt before him, saying, Lord, help me. She's begging. She's down on her knees in front of him, begging, help me. And he gives this answer. And he answered, it is not right to take the children's bread and throw it to the little dogs. And that little dogs, they were like the little domesticated dogs that would be around a house. And or, he uses this phrase before. He says in Matthew 7:6, he says, do not give the dogs what is holy and do not throw your pearls before pigs, right? Now, when I taught on that and put it up on YouTube and BitChute, this was the thumbnail I used. Do not give dogs what is holy. Got a tiny little Boston Terrier there who is chewed up the bathroom door. You don't give good stuff to the dogs. They're going to chew it up. It wasn't meant for them. It wasn't meant for them. The filet in the fridge wasn't meant for Fido. So she keeps coming. He ignores her. The disciples say, tell her to go away. He makes this statement, I wasn't sent to them. I was sent to the children of Israel, to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And we should stop there. Remember, he came. God had assigned the nations to the lesser divine beings, the B'nai Elohim, the 70, and he chose Israel, Jacob, as his own. Okay, that from Deuteronomy 32, 8 and 9. It is through Israel that all of them will be saved. So the Messiah was promised to Israel. He came from Israel and he came to Israel. But what's his ultimate purpose? It's to save them all. It is to save all the nations. That's what Pentecost is about. But and this is where we have to adjust our thinking. You're thinking like a post-Pentecost Christian when you hear this stuff. This is pre-Pentecost. The message going out to the nations hadn't happened yet. Not that it couldn't happen, but that's not what he was there for. But still, that's not why he's doing what he's doing. She said, yes, Lord, but yet even the little dogs, the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their master's table. He's ignored her. He's walked away. He's made a statement that she's not included. And what did she do the whole time? She did exactly what you and I should do when we think God isn't hearing us. When we think that our prayers are going unanswered. When we pray and it seems we hear nothing, we see nothing, nothing changes. Faith holds on. It doesn't let go. Faith believes that there will be a light at the end of the tunnel. Faith believes that God's really there for whatever reason. Right now, he's not showing himself to me. There must be more stuff for me to learn. Going through the hard times and enduring it builds faith. It strengthens faith. This was, for this woman, a faith-building exercise. And then Jesus answered her, O woman, great is your faith. Be it done for you as you desire. You want to know what Jesus really thinks? It's right there. He is impressed by her faith. And we don't think of it this way. When you go through hardship, when I go through hardship, I don't think of it as, hey, here's an opportunity for me to live my faith. No, I think I'm living my faith when I'm sitting here teaching Jesus or when I'm doing something easy. Right? I don't think of living my faith when I'm walking through hardship, when I'm in the midst of the storm, when I'm in pain and suffering and everything seems to be going wrong. I make the mistake that I don't recognize that as the best opportunity to live my faith, because faith holds on. Faith doesn't let go. Faith doesn't shut up. It continues. Faith is persistent. And that's why he tells her, this woman who wasn't part of the nation of Israel, who knew she was an outsider, was thrilled that Jesus got close enough to her so that she could go out to him and beg for help for her daughter who was oppressed by a demon. Can't imagine that. And she didn't quit. He gave her every opportunity to quit, and she didn't. And then he praises that faith. And through all of this, this wasn't just about her. It's never just about her. This was also a lesson for the disciples. He was teaching them all kinds of things through this, these things that I'm talking about now and more. You don't send people away. When did Jesus ever give the okay to sending someone away? When? Lord, these kids, they're being a pain. Let's get them out of here. That's the one time Jesus got mad. He was indignant and said, suffer the little children to come unto me and forbid them not, for of such is the kingdom of heaven. Jesus loves kids. Why Satan hates them. But Jesus never sends anyone away. He wasn't sending her away. He could have told her to go away. He could have given the disciples the wink and said, yeah, get her out of here. That's not what he wanted to do. He was building all of our faith by showing us that sometimes I let you walk through the storm. And I'm quiet because I want you to have the opportunity to stretch your faith, to let it go deeper, to get stronger. You know, God doesn't always answer. Sometimes he makes us wait. How is it my job to tell him that he should answer me now? It may be what I want, because that'd be easier. Well, easier isn't always good. I coached little kids football back years ago. I played different sports. If my coach would have made it easy for me, how good of an athlete would I have been? If my professors made learning easy for me, here, this is going to be on the test, this is going to be on the test, make sure and answer this way, how much would I have learned? No, things need to be a challenge. Things need to be hard so that I grow. And it's the same thing with faith. Life is hard. Life in this sinful world is hard. I want a faith that's able to bear up under that and hold fast. And this woman had it. She had it. She held on, and she heard this. "O woman, great is your faith. Be it done for you as you desire." And her daughter was healed, says instantly. It was in that very hour. From that hour, when she got back home, she'd found out that her daughter had been healed. But faith isn't always easy. Sometimes we don't hear God. It's just like on a horribly cloudy day. It may be dark and gray, and it has an effect on our emotions, right? But what do I know? I know the sun is still up there. If I were a pilot with American Airlines, I could fly up above the clouds and see the sun. But the sun is still there even when I can't see it. And I'm still blessed by the warmth that it gives, even though the clouds are blocking a good bit of it. God is there whether we know that he's hearing us or not, and we simply need to hold firm. We need to persist in faith just as she did. Jesus went on from there and walked beside the Sea of Galilee. So we're going to flip back to that map real quick, and this isn't going to take us long. So he was way up here, and now he's back down here by the Sea of Galilee again. That's quite a walk. Down here in the scale in the bottom, that's 30 miles. So he was way up here, and then he's back down around here. That's where this is taking place. That's why looking at a map can be helpful. It's like, oh, that wasn't just around the corner. He had to hoof a ways, and that was mountainous terrain. Jesus went on from there and walked beside the Sea of Galilee. Another thing, doesn't mean he didn't do more stuff there. The only thing Matthew told us about was that. And he went up on the mountain and sat down there, probably the same place where he preached the Sermon on the Mount. And the great crowds came to him, bringing with them the lame, the blind, the crippled, the mute, and many others. And they put them at his feet, and he healed them. Didn't ask them if they believed. He just healed them, so that the crowd wondered when they saw the mute speaking. the crippled healthy, the lame walking, and the blind seeing, and they glorified the God of Israel. Don't forget where we started, talking about the reaction he received from the leaders of the children of Israel, confrontation, trying to trip him up, show him to be a phony, whatever. Here, the common people received him with faith, and they glorified God. Just so here we've got people who were more likely predominantly Jewish. The Canaanite woman certainly wasn't. You know, in the Gospel of John, in the prologue, it says he came to his own and his own received him not. And talks about those who did receive him and what all they received. So often, kind of like today, many of the powerful and mighty, the elites in the world, they don't have any place for him. They war against him. And it's the common people who accept him and love him and glorify God because of him. I want to thank you for listening. I want to encourage you. Give us a thumbs up. It really does make a difference. I also invite you to subscribe. And if you subscribe, then make sure and hit the notification bell so that you are made aware when we put out new content. Please share this video with others. Share it on your social media platform. Send it to anyone you think might benefit from this teaching. And finally, come and pay us a visit. This is our website, decodingthedeception.com. If you know our name, you know the website. We've got all our Bible teaching videos out here, as well as a host of other resources to help you be informed so that you can decode the deception. This is Matthias 76. Together, we are decoding the deception. God bless and have a great day.